like, I'll give you like $50 to leave me alone. I didn't even know this was a strip club. I'm in Aberdeen. I just want to get a frickin' beer before I play this straight edge venue. And then all of a sudden I'm like, why are Coronas $10? And then I'm like, oh no. Like you're like playing at the North Shore and the North Shore becomes a strip club for a second. You're like, but I have to pee.
So I gotta say, as I like to both just immediately start because I think intros and like, okay, 3, 2, 1, everyone gets too weird. So we're just gonna start, and this is the start. Welcome to the Wussow's podcast.
Oh yay!
Cool.
You guys all seem to know each other. However, I don't really know any of you. So I think now at the very start of the very first episode is an exceptional time to introduce yourselves. I'll start just because I'm the one talking. I'm Terry.
Well, I'm Jason.
Well, I'm Lyndon, but you know me as DJ Mouse. In the house, yeah, from radio here in Duluth.
I didn't know if you were going to say KUMD or the North.
Well, it would have been KUMD at the time.
Yeah, okay. I'm Gavin St, and I'm a songwriter and musician in town.
Heidi, Feroe, and I sing and write songs and play guitar and play some bass in Babie Eyes, which is a local band. It started this year, at the beginning of the year. I'm also an artist in town.
Well, nice to meet you all. Except I knew Jason, but this seems like an odd group of people, an odd disconnected group of people. And so like I'm kind of curious. So okay,
I'm nodding yes. Jason's shaking no. Wait, we have 2 no's and two heads shaking yes.
I did both. I did both. That was a single emotion with my head.
So you invited them, Jason. So like, why these people? I want to hear from your perspective first.
Well, never doing a podcast and having no direction and any idea, I just thought, why not pick someone who has something coming up at the cafe in the future, someone who just did something super cool at the cafe in the past, and hopefully in the future, and then someone who's right now doing all this cool stuff that is different than music. And I do love a good Trinidad accent.
That's right.
And that's just a good voice for this. I think.
Yeah.
I think you should come back every week.
Well, I don't mind that at all.
Yeah. So the Chocolate Lab. I think that's a good. What is the deal with that?
Right. Well, thank you for having me here, Jason, and all of you guys. I really appreciate it. I'm, Lyndon, but DJ Mouse here. And in the last 4 years, I decided I could get my Caribbean heritage out here in town. And I've pushed chocolate as a small side gig, at farmers markets and just for friends and so on. But recently at the university kind of where I work, they've caught onto it as a way to teach people how to keep them in school. And, we've sort of likened the process of making chocolate to how you can learn different skills in life and maybe at math or any type of engineering. So yeah, it's sort of integrated into one of our programs in the engineering department.
It's the chemical engineering department.
Yep, chemical engineering. But what we've done is that we've made it open to everybody in the public so that you don't have to be a chemical engineering student. You could just be someone off the street, come up to the Chocolate Lab and say, hey, I'm interested in what you're doing here, and we will take you in, show you how to make chocolate, and then show you how it's applied to engineering. And from that, you have left my experience with more knowledge that allows you to grow your ideas.
But how do you get people who are, I don't want to necessarily assume smarter because they can do engineering, but you can assume at least think differently than maybe like a lib-ed student who is going to come in and just wants to make chocolate. How do you balance having those 2 different types of students there making chocolate?
Well, it's sort of like how you have Wussow's concert cafe idea. It's a coffee cafe, and then it's a concert location. And it started, I guess, I heard the idea was like one day he was at a coffee shop and then says, wow, this coffee shop needs live music. And, that's a great idea. So what we decided is that we're going to just pull chocolate. I'm just going to turn it around and say, like, the way chocolate is made from its origin, where it's grown, to the point where it's sold, and how it is interpreted from its agricultural point of view to the point of view where it's a luxury good. every human thought and emotion is sort of part of this product. Chocolate has its roots in slavery, even as today child labor all around the world, working on cocoa estates and plantations in Africa. And then you have the highest price luxury good chocolate in Belgium and in France, $500-$600 a pound, almost the price of gold.
I was just in Belgium. I ate some of that chocolate.
That's right.
I didn't think about where it came from.
Trinidad and Tobago is where the best in the world comes from, you know.
And child labor?
No, not child labor, but, in Africa and the bigger estates is where you have the forced labor for chocolate. But in that, you have all of this beauty on the other side of the product, which is associated with a higher lifestyle and music and exotic places and so on. So the disconnect that we are fed sort of breeds an area for imagination to grow and learn stuff. Most of what you're taught, though, is wrong.
Oh, okay.
And that's why you should make chocolate.
Yes.
That's so sweet that it's all.
So what we do
And
in the
grow
lab,
chocolate.
and we grow it, but we teach the people right as you walk into the lab the ethics of it, and that's where the connection is. There's an ethics to what we have the lab. So when you get into a program and we say, hey, this is a UMD Chocolate Lab chemical engineering, you don't need to be an engineer. What you have learned is a piece of the ethics, which is just as important as the math.
It's really kind of an interestingly all-encompassing lesson. And how long has this been around? You said 4 years?
4 years, and I kind of lost a bet with a dude, and he ended up flying me to Trinidad to show him these really awesome cocoa trees that make you feel really happy when you drink the cocoa from it. The trees, and these special cocoa trees with really high content of theobromine. It's not like trees that grow elsewhere. They're trees that are native to the island of Trinidad. They're called a Trinitario variety of chocolate. So you see, chocolate is sort of something that originated from the Western Hemisphere, the island of Trinidad and down in the Amazon region. Over the last 200 years, all of the world's science was based in Trinidad for breeding cacao trees. And on the island of Trinidad, they have every living species represented of the cacao plant. So there's 2,500 types of cacao trees, and we may have like about 200 that are suitable just for making chocolates, and maybe 10 varieties that are used by the big multinational corporations to keep their standardized seeds going to the bigger plantations out in Africa where they have mass amounts of chocolate growing.
So it's like the Monsanto of chocolate.
That's correct.
Ah.
But it's all controlled in such a way that not even the local folks on the island know, well, there's this huge chocolate thing going on, that when they have their water cut off by the government, the cocoa trees still have water coming to their roots.
Yeah,
It's amazing.
That sounds about right.
That sounds about just
Yeah.
right, yep.
Yeah, that's like Nestle stealing people's water and selling it back to them kind of thing too.
Yeah,
And-
well, strange enough, guess who's right next to that cocoa estate? It's a Nestle factory.
oh, who would have thought? Who could imagine?
No.
Yes,
That
yes,
makes
yes,
sense.
yes. Literally right next to there. Yep.
Wow, we're just getting right into it.
So when we show people this, we show them this is how it is, and then they realize, well, wow.
Yeah, it's kind of interesting how something seemingly so like simple turns out to be really complex and
But
deep.
But what's more, here's what's the best part about it. When we do make chocolate at the lab, and we explain to you what's lost along the way, and then we make you taste a piece of the chocolate, and we say, hey, taste this one, it tastes like roses. Taste this one, it tastes like jasmine. Taste this one, it tastes like honey. Or this one tastes like dates. It's because we've taken the care and the time to produce a really good product, and we haven't put any chemicals in there, or wax, or lecithin, or emulsifiers. And when you come into the lab, we give everybody chocolate freely, and we share it, and we tell you to taste it. We teach you and to appreciate what a good chocolate would taste like. And this is not something I would find anywhere else other than traveling to Belgium, like you just did, and you say, oh, here's a fine piece of chocolate, and there's somebody giving it to you. Here it is, my job is to give it to you for free and let you have that, because where else on earth would you have gotten that chance?
When you just did that with the staff, you came in one day, you're like, would these guys want to try my chocolate? I'm like, I can't imagine not. And then you had a high quality, mass produced, organic, we won't mention where you bought it from, but a very expensive chocolate bar. You say, okay, here is this $5, $6, $7 chocolate
Right.
bar, crack, taste this chocolate.
I did do that. Yep.
Yeah, you
It's
did
amazing.
that. And they were like, oh, now I don't want to ever eat any
Yeah,
other chocolate ever.
correct.
You know,
Correct.
It pales in comparison.
I
all
literally do that.
others.
I go and I buy the most expensive chocolate bar we can find anywhere, and I bring it on. We crack it in front of you and say, "Eat that," and then try mine, and you're like, "This is not real."
That's what I thought too. I'm like, how is it so not bitter when it's 80% cacao? But that's so another thought and question I have is the terroir and the species. What really makes it that rose, honey, date? What is it that is it the variety of cacao, or is it the soil? Is it, oh, this is this side of the mountain, this is a volcanic soil and it creates this taste, and this is the other side and it's sandy, or what's the story
Well,
there?
this is a good one. I just kind of did some reading here out of a conference that they had out in Seattle the last couple of weeks. It's called the Washington Seattle Chocolate Festival type of deal. And what they found was that around the world, you can find different flavors coming from different parts of the world. So what we have from Africa, you'll have a lot of earthy flavored beans. What you have from Vietnam and Indonesia would be more fruity. You come from South America, you'll have like floral. And then when you come from the island of Trinidad, all of the beans are very bitter. Dark chocolate, and that's very specific to the soil. And like you're saying, the
Is
Terra
it? But
Noir.
it's volcanic soil because it's an island, right?
Well,
or no?
it's part not Trinidad.
Trinidad's not
Yeah,
volcanic?
No,
No.
Higher up, the Caribbean is volcanic. Trinidad is part of the Andean, South American.
Okay, so
there's a
it's
lot
part of like a peninsula that got sunk or something.
Yep,
Okay,
as
okay.
the Orinoco Delta. So there's anything Amazon-like in
Ah,
Trinidad.
Oh, different.
So these cocoa trees that down there, they produce these bitter, fine cacao. So these are coveted around the world by any type of chocolatier to flavor what they call bulk cacao that's grown in Africa. Now, if you take any type of plant out of its natural habitat and try to grow it somewhere else, it won't taste the same. Very similar example is grapes. You get the best
Yep.
champagne
Yep.
from the Champagne region in France.
Or you can find great champagne. You can't call it champagne, but you can find an amazing sparkling wine that's dry, even grown in New Mexico,
Correct.
because of the processes in the soil, the
Correct.
terroir, and the love of the land, and the harvesting of the grapes at the right time and all the parts.
Correct.
But it has a taste that's so specific that New Mexico probably call it something and make that a trademark as well, like just like Champagne or anywhere else that
Grows stuff.
it's like Trinidad probably should like
So what?
covet those beans and like trademark them like Parmesan.
So it is. So most of the island, all of the beans and all of the stuff is really controlled by the government. All of that stuff, but it's to prevent something called bio-piracy, where people can come in from other countries and just take plants and leave. But what your question was about how these beans get these flavors is that these farmers intercrop the trees with other fruit trees
they're
like bananas
grafting.
and cherries. And what happens is we found that these trees communicate with each other under the soil through
Yeah.
fungal systems.
They do. I've heard about
And
that.
they
I get
feed
it.
each other. They take care of their sick ones. They adopt anyone that pops up in their culture, and they're sort of forced into this relationship. You put them there, they're arranged marriage, and the trees will live together, and they don't choose that, but what they will do is the cherry trees will give the cocoa trees substrate sometimes, and then the cocoa trees will give back to the other trees. And what has happened is that you find that if you've planted many coconut trees or coffee trees around your cocoa estate, all of your beans start tasting like the extra plants that are around
That
there.
makes so much sense, and I know that's true with the way like trees and forests live underground so much and share and help, and that's so interesting.
So this afternoon, I was able to share here with Heidi a little jar of some Trinidadian beans, and when she opened it, she said it smells like it's like so florally and Caribbean. I said that's exactly how that whole entire neighborhood or village smells like. The
like
dirt,
mango or something.
Yeah,
I should bring them down here from my car, but
Oh,
so you
yeah,
guys
but
can
the
smell 'em.
entire place just will smell like a mango field. Once
That
we open
sounds
the
good.
tiny,
Guava.
guava and jasmine.
Jasmine.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So wait, I want to go back. Did you say bio? Pirates? What did you call them?
Bio-pirates.
Bio-pirates.
Yeah, those are dudes who fly into the country and act like a tourist. And it's like, hey, can I tour your cocoa field? And then stash a few beans.
Trees in their backpack.
In
Bio-pirates.
their
That sounds-
luggage,
it
and
sounds
just
so
kind of
exciting.
skip the country.
Yeah.
Yeah, and
Well-
It'd be more exciting probably to hunt him down.
Yeah.
well, you
Bio
know,
pirate hunter.
There you go.
Yeah, it's like, and then you could be your own little Chuck Norris, yeah.
it sort of
Get ya.
started with the orchid trade, where guys would come in and just hike through the forest and cut a little snippet of an orchid leaf or a branch and could take it back to a lab here in the U.S. and do what they call tissue culture in rare orchids. And you could get all kinds of orchids propagated in any sort of lab
Yep.
here in the U.S. So that was a
And then
big
sell
thing.
them at the $40 boutique flower
Yep.
shop. Yeah.
And they didn't have to pay for any of the source material, which is usually either patented by a breeder or some sort of stuff like that.
Well, is it any more than all the things we've tried to own in this world of shared things? It's one more level of
What we don't want.
what we don't want.
Right.
Corporate greed.
It could just be personal. It could be all kind. It could
Well,
be accidental personal greed.
Accidental personal greed?
Man, you can be
Go
you
on,
can be
more
you
about
can be a
that.
hippie in a Subaru and you have some personal greed because you broke down and you're walking to town, but apparently town's 2 days away,
Yeah.
and you see a freaking garden and you're like, God, I'm just gonna
You're
steal
really
a couple
hungry.
of these tomatoes.
Accidental personal greed. I get
Yeah,
it.
I mean, there's
You're
like the
forced
list
into it.
is
I don't.
there's
Yeah.
layers, but it's the act, and it's the scale and the scope. So it's just like a small business has the biggest day of the year, and they're so amazing, and the biggest business is like that wouldn't even pay for cleaning the mats for today. It's just like it's scale and scope. And it's the act that I see is, that's where things get veered off. Is like when you go, it's only a little white lie.
Oh, right.
No one will notice me. I'm just a little hippie. I'm just trying to go to the rainbow gathering, and I broke down, and I'm really hungry and thirsty, and that tomato has both those things together.
And next thing you know,
it's
you're a bio-pirate.
bio-pirate. Well, you're not a bio-pirate because you
No.
didn't take it home and steal the
It's a
essence of it
slippery
and
slope.
sell
It's a
it.
slippery slope,
Either.
but if you try to be mindful of your accidental self-greed thoughts,
Right.
then you will avoid the life of bio-piracy.
may be
I
the
would say
only
it's a
way.
better chance, yeah. if
This
you
is-
have guilt from stealing tomatoes when you're hungry walking for 2 days, you probably will have a better chance
This
of not
is
becoming a
based on
bio-pirate.
personal story.
How was that rainbow gathering, by the way?
This is not, but it's based on a million other realities
can't
that are
let it
very
go.
similar.
The 2 tomatoes you stole.
Are you a serial tomato stealer?
I hate tomatoes, actually.
What's the weird part of that? You keep stealing them.
I don't ever steal them. No,
hate these
I've watched
things.
people steal them. I'm like, oh no, I'm just gonna drink this water out of the river and see if I get beaver fever. It's like I can power through. I really don't like tomatoes, but
Anyway, when you guys see me around town here with my chocolate, you're going to wonder what's going on. It's like, who's this dude? It's Chocolate Lyndon, and he's coming around
Chocolate
town.
Lyndon.
And you want some chocolate
You
because
want
it's
some
so
chocolate.
good.
Is
Yeah.
it
It's
like a
really
coat
good.
you have that's full
We
of
talked
chocolate?
about Lyndon's
kinda-
chocolates too. It's like
It's
those
like
Lyndon
life
chocolate
changing.
truffles,
Okay.
and it's like
Oh,
you're gonna have
that's
like
right.
a battle of the
Oh,
Lyndon
yeah.
chocolates. It's like, no, I am the Lyndon chocolate.
After the first time I had it, I was like thinking about it for like days. Afterwards, it's like it changes your whole.
Perspective on
Yeah,
everything.
it
Well,
does.
on everything?
It does, it does. It's like-
A bite of your
It's
chocolate.
gonna be
gotta
like
get
last
does.
place on
So
earth
we
out
didn't
here.
bring any chocolate for
It's like
you.
there's gonna be 60 people lined up. Is Lyndon coming? Is Lyndon coming? I heard Lyndon's coming today.
Well, so you're at UMD, right?
Right, so I
So-
work at UMD as a lab coordinator.
I've been a student there for the last 4 years. My last day is tomorrow, as of the time of this recording.
Wait, your last day?
My last day of college at UMD
dude.
tomorrow.
Oh,
as of
congrats.
recording.
Yeah,
Thank you very much.
congrats.
Aren't you gonna finish?
Hopefully.
No.
But
You're just
I'll-
gonna
he's
like
calling
be
it
done
off.
and
hopefully I'll
not
be
go back.
Hopefully I'll be finishing tomorrow, but either way.
Today's the last. Tomorrow's the last day.
Yeah.
Seems like a
But
weird day to end.
I didn't even know about this chocolate
I should
lab
rethink that.
until like 6 months ago, a year ago. I still haven't had any of the chocolate. I don't even know where it physically is in the building. And so I think it's interesting that it's this life-changing thing that everyone else, I've heard talk. Everyone talks about how incredible this chocolate is. And it's just, I'm like, what are you all talking about? So honestly, I got to say right now, I'm just really glad to finally know what's going on.
Right. So if your last day is tomorrow, you better head on down to room 112 in the engineering building at the UMD
I
campus,
walk
where
through the engineering building every
you
Wow.
will see
day.
all
Dude,
of this chocolatey stickers stuck on a door, and you was like, "That's the chocolate lab."
Okay,
Wait,
so
it's
it's
actually
I
really
just
obvious.
was, I
lab
was
in
just
the
there.
university?
It's
Yep,
so
there
cool.
is a real
Oh.
chocolate lab, and in
It
there,
is real.
if you want to see, go at
You were there?
Chocolate Lyndon on Instagram, and you will see the inside of all of the chocolates and how I make it from the scratch, from the bean. Just like follow me on Instagram. I won't block you or nothing like that. And you'll see how chocolate is made from the bean. I have pictures of the cocoa trees I'm putting down on my estate right now in Trinidad. I have pictures of how the beans get shipped here. I have pictures of how we crush them, how we roast them, how I grind them, and then how we pour them. And then
What's it called? The machine that spins it for like ever.
it's called a melange. And, a fun thing about that is if you've got to use those granite stones in there that mills the chocolate down to about the size of about 20 microns, which is about 1/5 the size of the human hair. Up to 50 microns, your tongue can still taste it as a grit or sand, but once it gets down to that really fine grit, chocolate becomes a non-Newtonian fluid and does all kinds of weird stuff. One of the fun things you'll find about chocolate is that chocolate here is used as a luxury good, but where it's grown down in my part of the world, it's used as a health food and a daily tonic, a medical drink, and it's used as a replacement to coffee. So they roast the cocoa beans. You get some raw cocoa beans from your best friend or somebody like that, and then you take it to your home and you spread it on a tray in a single level, and you roast it about 250 Fahrenheit for about 10 minutes, 12 minutes, and then you'll start smelling that change from fruity to more chocolatey, and then you pull that out, let it cool. And then you crush them, and you can stick them into any bit of a Keurig cup or a strainer, or just put them whole or shell them and use the nibs as a sprinkle on your oatmeal. You don't have to be a chocolatier to really enjoy good cacao beans.
Yeah.
You can just have them raw in the raw, and
Just eat them.
just eat them, and they're really
I
good.
love them.
But we found that when you do that, you get no sugar, no additives, but you get the full 100% cacao effect. And after about 6 beans, you feel happier. You just get a good, warm glow everywhere, and you're just bumping around, smiling first thing in the morning. And people is like, where did you get that unwarranted feeling of goodness?
I just had some chocolate.
I'll share some of the beans with you guys. I'll give you guys some of the beans.
And maybe
Cool.
because you
Yeah,
didn't
we
have
make
to
pie.
shovel
Fun,
snow.
yeah,
You can take
definitely.
We'll roast them for them
Nice.
first. You roast all, and
Oh,
you
yeah.
keep all and
Oh,
roast
well.
it. Roast it as a batch. And
How
then
long do
share
they
them.
keep
Just-
after you
They're
roast them?
fine.
Maybe a little
Years. They'll stay
Oh,
for
wow.
years.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, years. They'll stay in
But,
a
yeah.
dry. They're like a
So
Gotta
they're
do that
raw, you gotta
process.
roast them
You gotta
still?
do that process. You just
Yeah.
said like.
If
So,
they're
yeah.
green, like
Yeah, well,
unroasted.
yeah. So
Once you
unroasted,
roast them,
yeah,
then they're
they're
like a coffee bean.
yeah, they're like a coffee bean. They smell nice.
But you want to keep them in the green bean state.
Oh, so you should consume them right after you roast them?
No, not necessarily.
Oh,
you
you
could
can hang
age
on to
them at any point. So, like, I have raw beans that I just let sit for years, 5 years sometimes, and then decide to roast them. And what has happened in that time is that a lot of the chemicals in there have aged and sort of done their thing out, and the flavor is really well developed. And if you use a freshly harvested beans, you can actually taste what they call a younger type chocolate.
Yeah, makes sense.
Makes sense. You could taste a younger type wine. You could taste something that's a little bit more stringent. It's so amazing.
Yeah, the brighter like green bean
Correct.
or
Yep.
green pepper, serrano pepper, bright
Correct.
and shiny, or like more mellow and
Yep.
aged and barrel oak or something.
all chemistry down to the bean.
Makes sense. Makes sense.
Cool.
It's similar to coffee.
And
Yeah, it
wine.
sounds like
Coffee, wine.
Yep. Wine, food, any of those fermented products, even bread.
I was going to ask you, maybe you could tell me what I should have eaten. There was so much chocolate in Belgium, and I didn't know. Like, I feel like I would spend 10 minutes in each one just thinking that No, that's
You
wrong.
need to walk
I
into
should get
every
that. No,
store
that's- I
and
could get that.
say, "Show me the Trinidadian chocolate."
That's what I should have done.
That's
All
what
right,
you
next
have
time.
to do. There's no other substitute. There's one place on earth that you want to eat the chocolate from. It's
Okay.
Trinidad.
And if they don't know,
They will know.
walk out of there.
There's
Oh, they'll know.
Yeah, if they don't know, you just
Yeah.
walk back out and just like, okay,
Oh,
next
I
door.
love this.
Yeah,
This is
it's
wild.
like you don't want anything, and the minute you say you want Trinidad chocolate, they're like, oh, he wants the stuff from the back shelf, you know,
Oh.
the secret
No,
stuff.
top
on
shelf.
that.
Top
Yeah.
shelf.
Top shelf, yeah. Well, I'm going to recommend you search up search up what a Trinidadian cacao bar looks like in price on the internet. Just do
Oh,
a Google.
I believe
Just check it out and see what it price is, and then search up your regular other bar and see what it price compares, and then you might say, "Wow, I wonder why."
Get what
There's
you
a
pay for.
difference. Yeah,
Yeah, yeah.
you do
I
get
always
what you
wonder
pay
that
for.
about.
Chocolate.
I mean, that
So,
makes sense.
A
Things in
chocolate bar
general.
is like a book, a good book, a story, a novel, some sort of interesting romance book that you might pick up at a library or at a little small library. And when you open this book, you will judge it first by the color of the cover or the packaging or the wrapper. But as you open this book and you read the first page and you take that first bite into this chocolate bar, and this is a good bar, you're going to just get these sensations and feelings first, your sensory, your nose, your mouth, and then it gets down to your larger palate, and there's where you've consumed a few bites of it, and then your senses are overtaken, and a really good chocolate will stay with you for about 35-40 minutes after every bite. You get this really long lingering dance and parade of flavors coming down, the olfactory senses. Yeah, you're wondering, why did I do this to myself? I can't focus now on what's happening. It's like I have this flower dancing around in my throat, a butterfly coming out of my ear, this kind of stuff.
Just seeing chocolate.
Chocolate
Everything
everywhere,
is chocolate.
yeah.
Or you're at a salty dog show.
Oh, yeah, you could be at a salty dog show.
Yeah.
All right.
You're gonna leave.
Well, I'm going to make my exit here.
You're gonna leave?
Yeah.
So, one more time, where can people find more information on that you want to give them?
Well,
Anything
you
wanna tell?
Google UMD Chocolate Lab and you'll see a bunch of stuff pop up online. But follow Chocolate Lyndon
Chocolate
the main one.
Lyndon. That's,
on
All right.
that's what we're
Instagram.
following.
Chocolate Lyndon.
Instagram.
Spelled like Lyndon.
Yeah, like chocolate Lyndon, like President Lyndon Johnson, I guess. So
Yeah.
All right,
Yeah.
all right, thanks for coming. Well,
And there
That
were
was-
4.
yeah, then there were 4.
Gratitude, that's my new attitude. If you're someone that speaks the truth, it's the answer for you. Walking on sunbeams.
So,
riding
as theme of the night, I don't know much about baby eyes either.
Oh, okay.
So,
Don't be mad.
No,
Okay.
I'm not mad.
really?
Oh,
It
believe
was,
me.
Oh, okay.
Oh, you don't.
during 1 week live, Molly and I were upstairs. We were ready to sit and listen, and then we were both so tired that we couldn't stay
Oh,
for
yeah.
another second and left.
Oh, yeah.
And we felt horrible afterwards, but
Well,
we almost saw you.
we have gotten a lot better over time for sure, especially with the residency. We just had so we started last year around like in March or something, February, March, and it was just like I hadn't been doing music for a really long time, many years. I was just playing in my bathroom alone, writing songs in there. And
It always sounds the best in the bathroom.
He does, yeah.
The
It
acoustics,
does.
right?
The
There's
acoustics are
nothing-
great.
Yeah.
Yeah. And so when I last year when I started coming back around Wussow's, I had an art show here in January. Then I ran into Curtis again, which I had known him like 10 years ago, and we'd recorded in Wussow's like 2 days after I'd met him for another thing. But anyway, so I ran into Curtis again, and he got me a case for my guitar so that I could like bring it to open mics because I didn't even have any case to bring it around. So then I started going out to open mics again, and then ran into Ian, who has like a space upstairs, like a studio space, and he wanted in the band, and so he started playing bass because that's what we needed, a bass player. And then somehow Jacob and Kenny came along, then it just felt right.
I love that.
It just
Somehow.
felt super right.
Are you guys doing something in here? Or?
Yeah.
You need 2 keyboards?
Yes.
We'll play different parts, I swear.
We do, yeah. Yeah, well, you know how Jacob likes to get, he's can add a lot. And especially when we were just starting out, he, wanted to be in the band. And then Kenny was, like, we had asked Kenny too, so it was, like, at the perfect timing. So we're like, do you guys mind, having 2 keyboard players? They're like, no, we love it. And then now Jacob just recently got a synth. And Kenny's like, on synth. So they like trade off. They do all sorts of different whatever's, handy. But it's cool how they interact. Oh my gosh. Now especially it's getting like, whoa. So then we just got a bunch of gigs and stuff, and people started supporting us this summer, and it was just it's been really fun. We were like in like 3 or 4 festivals. Like
Wow.
we didn't even, I just feel really lucky. It's so nice to have a band again. So, and then we just recorded our first album.
Oh, okay. Wow.
In
So,
the Sparta sound. And so that was like last weekend, actually.
oh,
Yeah,
Wow,
no,
so really-
it's so great. I love it up there.
Yeah, oh my gosh. We did like 12 songs in like 2 days. And they're all really pretty good. Like I don't think we might do one more song up there when we go back to like finish things up. But yeah, I'm super excited to share
Yeah.
it. Oh my gosh.
12 and 2 is a lot.
Yeah,
Those are
we
good
hammered
stats.
it out. Yeah, we were hard working for those.
I
2
love
days.
that. What'd you make for food, though, when you're done?
Oh, we had food the whole time. That was key. We had the best snacks. We had like grain bowls from the co-op, and like really nice like those Pocky chips or I don't know how you say that. I say Pocky, but I don't think it's called that at all. It's like
sounds good,
Pocky.
You had never had to say it on a podcast before.
No,
Pocky chip.
I haven't. They're so good. But we had we just bought tons of like hummus and like vegetables, just good for you foods.
Yeah.
Nice.
And we didn't drink. We had tea, the whole time.
Feel good, play good.
Yeah.
I'm not a
Yes.
musician, but I feel like as an artist, that's not how I live my life. I just throw garbage into my body at all times, and I'm like, why does everything hurt? And why do I feel bad?
Yeah.
So that sounds like hummus and like healthy things. Okay, I'm gonna.
No, really, I used to eat garbage, like for sure. And then when I started eating good for you foods, like a lot of like ADHD symptoms started like lessening, anxiety. A lot of the things I struggle with before were solved with just eating super good food.
I'm 100% could talk to you for an hour about that. I
Yeah.
completely agree about the power of food.
I also
There we
totally
go.
agree
Oh,
with
yeah.
power of food.
3 for 3. You
Yeah.
gotta stop eating junk, man. We're
Yeah.
gonna team
No,
up on
that's
you.
for sure. Well, the issue is I come here and then I eat cookies out of the
Well, that's
the
good
garden
junk,
and
though.
stuff.
Yeah.
Well,
It's
it is.
not
It's,
imposter
it's very
junk.
good. Well,
Yeah.
that is interesting though, because actually, yeah, I mean, like I was last year I did Whole30. I don't know if you guys know what that is.
Yeah.
Where you eat basically anything that's real.
Whole Foods.
Whole
quote
Foods
unquote.
for 30 days, and yeah, after that whole month, I felt like I was like a superhero, and then I
Wow.
was like, but now to reward myself, I'm gonna eat that, and then it just went.
That
back
first
down.
nasty meal tastes so weird, right? That first
Yeah,
like,
and you're
processed
like-
food,
you're
you're
like-
like, oh, why does that taste like
yeah,
that?
well, and what's
Yeah.
interesting is, I guess I should have mentioned this when we're talking about chocolate still. Sugar is just like, it ends up being way too much in the end. And so, now I'm especially curious about that chocolate because I imagine there's a lot of sugar.
You haven't
so-
had a
He's
chance
been
to
making-
try
I've
it.
not had
he's
it.
been
Have you
making-
guys tried it?
Yeah.
You've
oh,
had it.
I
Well, I
have-
know
yeah.
you
I've
have.
Yeah.
You haven't tried
I
it?
have the beans in my car, which I'll
Oh.
share with you guys,
Oh,
so you
yeah.
can take them home.
They're
and roast them.
amazing.
I have to see 'em.
What he does is amazing.
It's,
sounded
at
like
least
it,
you
right?
Have that drink
Yeah,
to
and,
try.
and not having just a metric shit ton of sugar in every.
Zero sugar.
He
no
makes,
sugar.
He made some
which
for my
helps.
mom recently for
It's-
she's a diabetic with really super low sugar.
Yeah,
That's
it's like you
incredible.
can,
And it's great, and it doesn't like.
It's caffeinated, right? Like you wouldn't want
it
to
is
have it before
caffeinated.
bed.
Oh yeah.
Okay.
I
The
definitely
tea
eat
part
it
for
before
sure.
bed.
is- Or it's
But I-
like if it's not
I can
caffeinated, it's
handle
like caffeine.
caffeine.
Oh.
I mean,
Okay.
I've got a high tolerance for caffeine, I should say.
Huh.
But yeah,
Oh,
no.
There's a buzz that it is like caffeine. If
It's
it's
a
not caffeine, it's some
beautiful-
other. We have to ask the chemistry kids. but-
I'm excited for you to try it, especially
I'm
because
excited
you
too.
care about, you're like, Yeah.
I value good food for sure.
Yeah.
Oh,
The
yeah.
thing
Not
about
like you
stepping,
don't, but
No,
no,
I
no.
don't. Actually, I
Everyone
will say
values
I
good
don't.
food. That's
I-
the thing. It's just like when you devalue bad food, that's the next step.
That's
Yeah.
That's what I should.
Exactly.
I just go, well, what's
Absolutely.
the absolute easiest thing I can do right now? And it turns out, oh, it's just eating Triscuits. That's it.
You know what's so weird
It's
is like
true. It is the easiest possible way to get food in your body.
Yeah.
Yeah.
you know, I think a quick salad dressing and any veggie is
Oh, man.
almost just as fast. And if you're
Uh-huh.
not vegan, like a good cheese. I remember one night Tina was gone, and I'm just like, I'm getting a frozen pizza, lots of matzah, you know, pepperoni or some gross. I don't know. I don't know. It's like I'll still eat it. I will. I'll never quit. I'm sure. But it's like, oh, I just don't eat this anymore. I mean, I lived
it
off
hit you?
this for I never like it anymore. It just hits me hard. It's like
Yeah.
So you mentioned that eating healthy then being a really helpful part of that process. So what makes that process for you difficult, or what difficulties come up, I should say, maybe?
Well, it's essential to feeling good. I think just feeling good in your body is super important, and like then your spirit can really just like, come out when you're playing. And like like I go on walks too. That's super important. Like because otherwise I'll get super mental health stuff. Just depression sets in after like 2 days of not getting exercise. So I just keeping up these like nurturing yourself, keeping up with these things that you know are gonna really be positive for you. It's like I don't even like to drink really.
Can I just say, I think it's really hard to believe in yourself as an artist enough. I mean, you can have periods of like, oh, I'm starting the song. And then 3 hours later, it's like, oh, I don't know, and then so you go through these cycles, but to consistently believe in yourself enough to finish a project or to get the whatever, the release show finally we're going to do here, like to see the end goal realized, like you have to consistently keep believing in yourself. And I think that's hard to do, but when you feel physically good, it's sometimes easier to keep that forward momentum propelled, as opposed to like if you're getting yourself down by the things you're doing or the thoughts you're thinking consistently, then you're gonna really
I feel like
you're gonna get in your own way.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I don't even think that die is the only way into believing. I mean, you just
no.
need to find a way to keep believing that your art is worth doing consistently. And like I think for you too, for me at least, lifestyle is just a tool to actually propel art from myself, keep it moving.
It's like loving yourself.
Yeah.
Like that's the key. Like if you can love yourself, and that's a big part of it, then you would nourish yourself. What would you do if you loved yourself? You'd give yourself all the best foods and all the best stuff, all the love, and partake in the community, and it just like blossoms out.
Do you guys feel that it's like it is an essential part of the creative process for you to would the creative process even happen if you guys weren't living the lifestyles you are, treating your bodies well?
Definitely when I was like 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, up until I was about 26, I could do whatever I wanted and still feel creative and inspired. And then I burnt out pretty hard and I had to address that. Or I hit a lot of walls. And I write every day, so that means I was hitting walls every day for like what felt like a couple of years probably. And I don't know. I mean, I still hit walls. It's just you just need to like keep pushing. And I found that certain things help me break through those walls or hit greener pastures more quickly.
Well said.
I don't
Jason,
know.
what about speaking of writing every day? Do you guys write every day?
I don't write every day. No, not at all.
No?
But
Just when it hits you, or
yeah, I think more of just like rhythm and melody every day, and like even like today I work with Russ Sackett, and it's like we're just freaking having a blast. Like someone says something and you have like a song that you Weird Al it, and you're just like screwing around with but you're also
Weird
screwing
Al,
around
that's
with
a verb.
yeah, you Weird Al it. You just make it up. So it's it's like if you name it, it's like you say one thing, it's like it makes me think of this song, and I'll just try to just the spontaneity of like creating a new song based on something, and so you steal a song, you throw the new lyrics in that you're goofing off on, or you're whistling, or you're thinking of rhythm, you're thinking of melody, you're like ting 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 ting, you know, where you're making your coffee, so you're keeping your rhythm, your vocals, your whistling, your spontaneity, your imagination alive.
Cool.
But then, you know, when you really want to go write that song, I feel like it's a battling your own embarrassment. Like, that's stupid as f. It's like, I hate that. I want to burn that. Let's have a journal burning party. My friend David Dondero, I love his song. Let's have a journal burning party. You know, this
Wow.
year,
Ew.
1993, that means nothing to me.
Wow, we were just talking about
You know, it's
that
like, I
just
love
before
that.
you came in the
Yeah.
room. Actually,
Yeah,
crazy.
I love burning journals. I'm not a go back and read. I'm a move forward, or I'm just, if I don't like it, I burn it. I hate it. I burn it all. I just don't. I don't. I'm
You actually
I'm a
physically
forward
burn the things you
mover.
don't like?
I'm so sad. I won't have an archive. I don't know. But then
But at least you're not a dweller.
I'm not a dweller.
Yeah.
And then when a song hits me and I like it, it like writes itself. Or me and Vaco lately have been writing together. Like, we wrote 2 songs recently together that were so fast together. It's like it just fires up and it goes. And it's like, I think when it's not forced, it's so cool. And if it's truthful and real, it's like, that is so great. And if it's just forced, it's cool. You can, if you want to go back. I don't like to read, you know, so it's like if someone would read me my notes, maybe, but I wouldn't want you to read them, because what if I didn't want you to read that? So that's why I burn them. So
Wait, so how do you know if it's real or if it's forced?
I don't know. It's just my emotional. So I burn anyways. But you know, that's why I don't create a lot. You know, it has to be a
Well,
perfect.
you do, though. You play. I mean, Woodbine. You guys. I mean,
Yeah, so I love. Actually, I love this podcast where we're just like talking, hanging out, spontaneity. I like group projects. I like creating and building things. You know, I mean, like, it's fun. You know, it's like adult Legos. You know, just like, we're making things. You know, but I don't like sitting around and like working on my art. I'm an artist. I'm meditating. I'm in my artist retreat. I'm like, no, I want real life, gritty. I just worked 12 hours and now I have a cool emotion and I want to get it out. You know, that's like more like me, you know.
Yeah, you
And
don't
also, I
strike
don't
me as
have the
an introvert.
patience to meditate or go on an artisan retreat, you know. So it's like,
Oh,
Artistry.
interesting.
Retreat. Yeah.
you know, it's like, I mean,
I
it's
know.
like, I love the idea of that for people that need solace from society,
yeah.
but I'm like, I'm kind of a social butterfly, so I'm just gonna make coffee and
So you're an introvert.
Oh, very much so. Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, I have a question in a second about when you guys say writing, what exactly you're meaning. Because when I write too,
Yeah.
but it's like, well, like it's essays or scripts or like writing,
filmmaking.
yeah, things like that. Very much a different world. But when you guys say writing, are you guys writing? Is it just lyrics, or is it lyrics and actual like musical like notes, or
When I say I write every day, I mean I spend time with my originals, usually that I'm working on. So that is me with an instrument, typically just singing, getting to the part of the song that I don't like, and then remembering why it's not done yet, and then doing that 35 times with each song and seeing.
But
if I
do you
can push
start
through
with
it.
a melody or a guitar hook or a riff, or does it just start all together?
Usually what ends up happening is like I have that part of the day that I need. I'm also pretty introverted. I need like an hour or two with an instrument pretty much every day. So I try to prioritize that. And when I get there, it's usually the most exciting right away. And I can kind of like trick myself into feeling something, and then some words start coming out. So I kind of try to move myself with a chord progression, I think.
Yep.
Right off the bat.
Yep.
And then if that feels like novel or true in some way, then I'll end up saying something or maybe opening up my notebook for some old notes. But yeah, and I think it's important to change up your process too. Like recently I've been journaling and writing a lot more and sourcing more from that, because I noticed I was starting to just say some of the same things. And I needed to go back and strengthen my like lyrical muscles. So I've been doing that a little more.
so there is like written evidence of what you've done.
There is, yeah.
Okay.
And a lot of recorded evidence on my phone as
Okay,
well.
that's the other thing. Okay. So,
Oh, yeah.
interesting. Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
okay.
Oh.
So, is that you say that in a way?
Oh, every
is that,
songwriter's probably got
yeah.
a
Oh,
is
yeah.
that like a
you-
primary
memos.
way
Voice
of?
memos.
It's just easy.
Yeah,
Yeah,
easy.
I suppose.
for every
Voice memos
practice.
are my. I mean, actually, Woodblind. Every song I think we've written together
Has been
it's all just a word note on a phone. You know, it's like almost every song I've written in the last 10 years. I would say I literally am walking down super happy or super sad or whatever. I'm like I'm gonna walk to the wherever. I'm going to Sir Ben's. I'm just gonna walk down the hill, and then I'm like, I'm sad, and then I'm like, it's kind of a nice day out. I'm like, now that I think about it, it's like it's not so bad. There's this or that, and then it's like all of a sudden it's like, beep, 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 beep. I'm just like, then I'm like, I walk by pedestrians like singing loud as fuck into my phone, just like. And that's my story. I'll tell you, just like singing this, and then I'll listen to it. And I'm like, no, and then I'll like write a whole
Then you burn
song
your phone.
without an instrument. It'll be done. Like I'm like, this is verse 1. No, this verse 1, take 2. I'll have like 50 recordings for one song, and I'll have to like go through and like edit it. It's like, oh God, shit. You're drunk. Why? I'm so glad you were walking. I'm so glad you were responsible enough. I hope you don't fall on the ice again. But at least you have one more song.
So that's
finally.
one way to write.
Finally.
Yeah.
That is an interesting way to write. I feel like if I was to write music, it'd probably be similar to that, where except I wouldn't be out in public. I would be screaming in my room at home, just going like, okay, and it goes like dun 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 dun.
I
dun,
don't
dun.
think I'm in public until someone notices me though.
Oh.
It's like picking your nose in the car. It's like no one's here. Oh, you're
no.
right
Yeah.
there.
No,
Yeah.
Jason, we
I'm
live
just
very
gonna-
different
I'm
lives.
just gonna
A
roll with it.
relatable
I'm just
experience.
gonna just
Yeah.
finish the deed, and it's like
I used to feel so socially awkward going anywhere. Like, and this is like really pretty recently, like probably a couple years ago. Like, and then I started going to the Ripple Bar to see the new Salty Dog play, and then drawing while they were playing, and then giving away those drawings as like part of that experience. And like just having that task of going and drawing, and then I could kind of go back into my own little world, go in and out, talk to people, go back to. So it was a nice way to like integrate it back into my life. And then through just forcing myself to, and there's a lot of times I didn't want to get out of my car. You know,
Yeah.
I just didn't want to go inside. But I thought, if you just show up, that's
yeah,
like
you
the
show
only
up.
thing.
That's art. You
Yeah.
just show up. That's like
That's
you
what I
write
mean about
every day.
writing
You
every
just
day.
show up.
Yeah.
And you do
Exactly.
it. That
Yes.
that is it.
That's exactly.
Yeah.
And I've
Well,
heard
I
so
see
many
you.
people
I
say
mean, I see you in the alley, like literally, like framing up shots. Like, here's, I'm
yeah.
just like, what do you work? Oh, just a movie. Nothing. Why'd you see me here? No, I'm just.
Why did you see me?
I do. I'm
your
not
eyes
expecting
away.
to be in a social situation, and so I do kind of. Oh God. Oh.
Why
Um,
did you see me? I want that on a t-shirt.
I don't know how to. I don't know how to talk right now. What do I say? Yeah.
I'm getting really good at understanding introverts. So
It's
actually,
really
I mean,
it's so painful initially though.
Mm,
It's like just this so raw, and like it's just like you can feel your emotions are just like, and then you don't want to be around people because you're like you don't want to change the vibes. And you don't want to.
I just
you know.
heard recently that loneliness is contagious, and I think that's a very interesting
Yeah.
thing because when you feel alone, the people around you feel estranged from you, and that makes them feel alone.
Yeah. Yeah. Also, the opposite is true too. So like, as I became more introverted or more extroverted or like just forced myself to, yeah, that definitely went through my entire life. So like, affected like me taking my daughter out more and just being a part of the community in general. So,
Does being an introvert affect being a performer?
oh,
mm-hmm.
yeah. I mean, it was hard for me to get back up there. But I knew since it was scary that I should do it. Like, just because, if you face your fears, you feel just so much better. And there's probably a reason for you to fear it. You should probably examine that.
I think there's something too, though, of introverts and extroverts, and it's about energy. And an introvert, it takes a lot of energy to get in front of people,
Mm-hmm.
but it's fulfilling. But it takes a lot of energy.
So
You have a fulfillment, and there's something that you need. It's like it's a vitamin. It's something that fulfills you. But when you're an introvert, it takes away too. So you perform, and now they want to meet you and sign this, and let me talk to you, and you want to party with us, and you're like, I just did that, and now I life force depleting. And then extroverts are the opposite. It's like, I just played the most awesome show. Let's go out and party. We're crashing on your couch. Let's do this. Kickstands all around. And it's like the extra introverts in the band are like, oh my God, get me out of this van. I'm quitting this band. But it's like, but that's what you want.
But that's the reason.
Sort of.
Yeah.
You know, it's like,
Yeah.
it's like, it's just a mix. But it's energy. So it's like, what fills you up, what depletes you.
Right.
It does help to get people in your life. Like, I didn't have friends to the point of I didn't have anybody to invite to my baby shower.
Oof.
Like, you know, I just didn't have friends for a long time.
I understand that. Yeah.
That story should be told a little more too, because I mean, it's like musician, mom. I mean, that's hard and different.
Yeah.
You mentioned a break from. I mean, was it just performing, or was it
It was
music
music
overall?
in general.
Oh,
I didn't
okay.
feel like playing like
Okay.
out. Yeah, I just at a certain time, I guess I didn't have it in me. I didn't love myself though either. That was like the biggest thing, I think. And then through having my daughter, I feel like that's when I learned to really start to take really good care of myself, because I was pregnant, and so you need to really start nourishing
Yeah.
yourself. I quit
That's cool.
smoking and all the things I needed to do, and then I had a natural childbirth, which was like once you've done that, you're like, wow, I can freaking do anything, man.
Oh yeah, I bet.
Breastfed her
Oh,
and stuff.
well, that's
Yeah.
way worse than breaking a collarbone.
Oh yeah.
Oh, yeah.
it was. But it was
I mean,
also
way
like.
worse. It
But
might-
it's all in your head.
pain-wise.
It's like a psychedelic experience. I could compare it to that. It was.
That's the first time I've heard that statement.
It was insane. It's all about how you look at it, and pain is all about how you look at it too. It's like it's only your experience, what you're perceiving. So like
Pain.
you can change.
I realize that my dad's like old school carpet installer, tile setter. It's like, and I mean, he's 80 years old, and it's like, oh, triple bypass, cancer, surgery, stones where you don't want stones developing, things like that. And
Yeah.
It's like, what's your
Like in your body, for
what's
example.
What's your
Yeah.
current pain? It's like, oh, zero. It's like zero pain, Dad. It's like you can't even stand up straight. It's like,
Well, there's a difference between like being, resistant to helping yourself to like just aversion to like getting help. Yeah.
so what is the truth? But the point is, it's like, does it hurt or not? And
Right.
well, on a level from 0
Uh-huh.
to 10, where are you? It's like, I'm 0, I'm 10. It's like, well, you're obviously a 1 and you're obviously a 9. So you guys are ultra conflicted. It's
How
like,
would we ever compare pains? Yeah.
exactly. That's the point.
Yeah.
How was giving birth like a psychedelic experience?
Because you're constantly, because the pain is so intense.
Oh, it sounds
That
terrible.
I was in this bathtub for a long time,
Ugh, that part
And, like,
sounds okay.
You just, yeah, I mean, and you go
Bathtub,
through
just the
you
bathtub
go
part.
through
It's like,
the
oh, at least
things.
it's warm.
It's
I
like
hope
these
it's warm.
levels. It's like you think it can't get worse, and then it just like levels
Wow.
up
Oh, no.
and levels up,
Oh,
and
it
the whole
sounds
time you're
terrible.
thinking, like, can I fucking survive this shit? Like, am I gonna be okay to like? And then it gets to this point where you're ready to like push the baby out, and then you like that's like an hour of time, but it goes by really fast, and then after you do it, you're just like, I was exhausted, but I was like super impressed that my body could freaking do that. And I put on a lot of weight actually too when I had my baby. That was one thing that was harder then, because I mean, you should only be realistically, they say, putting on like 30 pounds. I put on like 70 pounds.
You put on 70 pounds?
Yes, dude.
I
I just
can't
ate
even
really good
imagine
food.
that, actually.
I like I was like, F it. I'm just gonna like, I was just like, I had a really nice pregnancy
I
actually.
like that though.
Uh,
What's
It's
but
luxurious.
also,
It was-
the baby's part of the 70, so you can minus a baby.
She
it's gotta
was
be
at
like 10
least
pounds.
45 pounds.
That's a really big baby. which made it even worse and more painful.
Yeah.
Yeah, that actually would have been fine otherwise, except for it was the size of a fourth grader.
Yeah, right?
Oh,
Yeah.
I still, well, this is why I don't have kids, and this is why I try really hard to not put anyone in a position of that.
No, but I mean,
Because it's like,
You don't want to get
ouch.
pregnant?
and then your
I
brain,
don't want to be pregnant.
Just think of the bath.
your brain
bath.
produces.
You could just lay in the bath.
Yeah.
I would
Yeah, you
want
like-
a natural
it's just
hot
like a
springs,
long
which,
bath.
like, yeah, you know,
Speaking of...
Child.
Where are you gonna go with this? Notebook burning.
Oh,
Yeah.
I cannot imagine burning my
Oh,
notebooks.
yeah, what a
I
crazy
cherish
thing to
them.
say.
I cherish them.
yeah.
I
I
have
know
them.
everyone does.
I mean, but
Well,
have
no,
old-
I don't think so. Terry, because I was just telling him that Terry McCarthy was telling me that he had a burning party for all his, burned a ton of his notebooks. And I thought about it, and I thought, well, I don't really write like sad stuff or the stuff that makes me unhappy, but actually, I take that back. Because when I do read back, I kind of get sucked in.
okay, I'm starting to understand the
To that
catharsis of
moment?
burning sad things.
Yeah.
That's the point.
That does make sense.
Okay.
And I think I would burn those.
If
I
I find
think I might.
find and remember the crap I wrote, I would probably will burn it. But I just don't even remember where I put it. It's like, what did I do with that? That's why I like my phone. It's like I know I'm getting like testicular cancer, but I actually remember what I wrote. And then I can just delete it. I don't have to burn it. I can just. Well, I mean, it's probably still on.
It's backed up, dude.
It's
You can never
somewhere.
delete it.
Someone's gonna use it against me if it's. But
I would like to make the case for not burning your previous work.
Okay,
Um,
two verse
the,
two.
The main point being, I've noticed that things can kind of cook in the back of your head for a while, kind of subconsciously even for like decades, and then you can go back and you find an old cartoon in my case, and you go, oh, and it kind of ends up being like the thing that finishes the thing I'm working on now, and,
Right.
and all of a sudden it's like a puzzle piece that connected, and it's like, oh well, thank God I thought of that when I was 11 or whatever, and I decided to throw it down and decided to keep it.
thank God when I was
Yeah.
11, I was writing
True.
these political cartoons that I didn't understand.
Dude, the thing about that, yeah, I think that's super valuable to pop open that old source material and see, like, because it all comes from you. It came from you. Even if
Exactly.
it was 11-year-old you.
Right.
There's still going to be this, like, line between that and whatever you're working on now.
Yeah,
Be a
and
time capsule.
Yeah, I've noticed I can go through my old stuff, and it's like looking through an actual artist, their work, and you can go through periods, and you're like, oh wow, you can see me thinking about different things even at a young age, because that's just kind of, maybe, I don't know, agree or disagree, part of the creative process is just kind of going, oh, that kind of works, and
Yeah.
then going from there.
Mm-hmm.
Now, an issue I personally find, and it sounds like none of you guys do, I find myself crippled by, perfectionism, really. It's like this thing, if I can't do it right, why bother doing it?
So this might never come out.
Well, no, so
Uh-oh.
Oh, no.
Doesn't bode well for the podcast.
Oh, I'm not perfect, for sure.
No.
Oh, no.
We got to do a really good job.
you know,
from
now
now
that you
on.
mention, it kind of is why my previous ones failed, because every week I'd be like, no, I have to do it better, and if it's not good enough, then I just sit and get a spiral in it. But so how do you guys face thoughts like that, and how do you work through them, if so?
Oh, man, can I jump on it?
Yeah.
Like I said, every day I'm playing. I mean, the old songs are done. That's great. Even if I finished it last week, I'm probably not going to play it today. I'm going to be playing the other 7 songs that aren't done, and I'll play them until I have this sort of standard of quality, which is just a feeling that I get when I play a song that I like. And if I don't feel that for enough of the song, 70% of the song, if it doesn't feel like that, like I believe it, like I could lose myself in it, like then it doesn't pass the test, and then. So yeah, in that way, I think just having a high bar for yourself is being a near perfectionist. If you can just not quite hit up against perfectionism, but just flirt with it, then
Do you find yourself ever getting almost like too close or going over that
yeah,
part?
I mean, there are songs that have like 6 verses and 2 bridges and 3 choruses, and you just have to throw them in the trash because you just overworked the shit out of them.
Okay. That's interesting you mentioned that, because I do also agree with the fact that, yeah, sometimes just, all right, just throw it away. Like,
Yeah,
if you're working through it
overworked.
and it's like it's just kind of not going, then it can kind of go. But I think the key is to not completely abandon it, because
Don't
I don't
burn
know.
it.
Yeah, well, yeah, maybe.
I don't burn it for real. I
Oh,
mean,
I really do not.
I mean,
in
some
an organized-
maybe a couple really sad, depressing things that I wrote that I knew were lies, and I was just trying to talk myself into it. I was like, this, but I don't truly burn all this shit. I just don't have organization, and if it gets, destroyed in the basement and because there's water leaking and I had a pile of notebooks and then I'll just be like, forget it, it's wrecked. I'm just not even gonna open that box.
So, I think what I was maybe trying to say a second ago was at that point of throwing it away, whether you actually burned it or not. Do you start over then with that same idea, or well, God, actually, maybe I don't even know. Does a song have like a
song
core
starts with
idea?
a sentiment, I think.
Okay.
It starts
Mhm.
with a bit of a story, a feeling that revolves around a story, or vice versa.
So if that isn't being conveyed properly, will you go back and try again?
Dude, sometimes you have to say that moment will never be captured in music or whatever I'm trying to do with it. Yeah. No, I've had to let go of tunes that had like a great little thing about a really special moment, but when you spend too much time on it and then it just dulls the edge and it's just not there anymore. And so it's a shame. And some songs go really quickly and then you have to
The
be
best songs go fast.
The best ones
the best
do.
songs just
do
happen.
some really bad. So you got to check. You got to double check though. If it comes too quickly, it's like, wait, is this "Blowing in the Wind" by Bob Dylan? Yes, I did steal that melody. Okay, I need to spend.
Yeah, when I got back into it, like I just uncovered the Digital Chemical Wall notebook, which was the first like full song I'd written in many years, and I had taken up like 20 pages for this song, writing and scratching out and writing and scratching. It never takes me that like it was the old process was very just like flow, natural. Okay, it's like you're channeling whatever's coming out, and then it's like a conclusion that you've come to. But with perfection, like you got to let go of that, because then you'll never get anything done. And you just have to I think the human quality of making mistakes is so cool to see, like live.
It's what makes art.
Yeah.
I think the human quality and the mistakes, they're not mistakes.
No.
It's terroir of the artist. It's like the soil has this taste from the cacao bean. This artist has this bitter taste with their sad song or whatever. It's like, it's like Woodbine, super happy freaking ska band. And then Low, it's like, oh, we're real sad, extra sad lately, I guess. But
And Baby Eyes, yeah, it's like, yeah. It's just if I was waiting to be perfect with Baby Eyes, I would have never started it up. Or we wouldn't have gotten going like we did in the early hours of the year.
And by the time you're perfect, you've literally taken out the bleach and killed all the life and there is good bacteria.
Yeah.
There
And
is.
perfection, I think
Perfection
it's
is
always-
bleach.
I like that.
It's good to take those risks and to like be vulnerable every time when you play, and then that's perfection.
Vulnerable
Yeah.
is the art.
Yes.
Vulnerable is the truth,
Yes.
and your honesty and truth that you're giving to people based on your feelings and emotion of that moment of the song and that performance is the art. It's not this perfect song that's been bleached. It is the vulnerability and the truth. And that's why the imperfection of the morning voice after a cold, or the wrong note, the happy accident that becomes the hook, that's the art of
Yes.
it. I think.
I think so too.
I think you're right, and I think that actually, I feel like I'm making some connections now that I need to jot down and bring up in therapy, because it's like, oh, that's kind of interesting to consider. Just kind of like an aspect of just fear.
Yes. Yeah.
Being a really limiting factor of creativity.
Because it's just your ego stopping you.
Yeah.
Right.
It's just saying
Fear.
it's putting all these roadblocks ahead of you, which you don't have to have, and
Right.
you can just remove them and be free, and it feels really good.
See, I imagine.
So just go ahead, remove them,
Remove those blocks.
live your
and
life.
Yeah.
go
Ready?
ahead.
Here we go.
This is the
All right.
most affordable
And-
therapy.
Oh my gosh.
Do you own this?
Yeah, this is a great deal.
Free
this podcast.
therapy. Just
Just make
host
sure
a
to
podcast.
donate.
Yeah, just like, subscribe, and all that. Yeah.
No, I think just, man, that if you're waiting for perfectionism, you'll never get off you'll never get on your feet. Like it's just it can be so crippling.
I,
The thing is, though,
everyone I know that is like so perfectionistic, I just want to like, I don't know. It's like if you overdose on heroin, we'll blow this up your nose and you'll live. But it's like if you're just like so you can't be not perfect. There's no like little thing you can blow up someone's nose. Say you're gonna just fucking be imperfect. I'm sorry.
There's
like,
no
have
Narcan
fun.
for perfectionism.
Me too. I was like, yeah,
It's
oh,
like
I
it's
get it
awesome.
now.
You need it. You need to
you
like.
do need.
You're overdosing on perfection, and you're gonna
Yeah.
die.
You're gonna die.
Yeah. And it won't be perfect. It'll be a terrible death because your parents are Catholic and you're a gay atheist. It's going to be terrible. They will pretend you're Catholic and they'll dress you up in a suit and that open casket. It's going to be terrible.
Yeah.
Don't do it.
You know, it's funny because sometimes you'll say things and it sounds like a personal experience, but then like that clearly isn't because you're alive still. So,
Yeah.
You're right.
so I'm just like, so now I'm
You know
like,
what?
wow, what's real? What's not?
That reminds me.
Oh, it's like that. That's what I think about when people do those books, the fictional, historical fiction. I love those books, but I'm like, well, what is the real story? I mean, I know this Mormon had the 20 brides, but when does it...
Across your freckles. Can't sleep with the miracle by my side. I can't sleep with the miracle by my side. Can't sleep with the miracle by my side. I can't sleep with the miracle by.
No, we're descending. I was gonna say the thing that makes your stories seem personal when your things, your anecdotes, your analogies that you throw out is the details, which reminds me because you'll say something like tomatoes or Roman Catholic, and it's like, where are you sourcing this from, man? But I was just talking to someone actually at open mic.
It's the details. That's what it is.
No, it is, and that's what makes great writing. It's this guy Eddie. He's a great songwriter, and he wanted to play this game with me because he was going to play at open mic, and he wanted me to write down 5 details, and he would just make up a song with them when he got up there.
That's fun.
So I wrote him 5 details, 5 things, and I gave it to him, and he's like, "Those aren't details." And I was like, "All right, okay. So like, let me try again." So I gave him 5 more things, and he's like, "Oh, those aren't really details either." I was like, "Well, are you just waiting for me to give you 5 things that you want to sing about, or do I not know what details are?" Like,
Right.
I'm a writer. I mean, I write songs at least. I'm not a novelist or anything, but this guy is a great lyricist. So I thought, you know, hey, this is when I bought my new notebooks. I needed to write more, apparently. So, but it cracked me up that I was like, all right, what is a detail? And he was like, well, you know, and he had his pen hovering over the napkin, and he's like, you know, it's like, and we just cracked up 'cause we couldn't think. I was like, okay, if an untied shoelace, that was one of mine. That's not a detail.
That sounds like
That's
a
not
detail.
a detail.
It sounds like a detail. See, I think he
would
was
say
being.
that's a detail.
I think he was being picky about what he wanted to sing about.
think so,
Yeah.
I was
too.
like,
Maybe
that's
you
not
just
how this
wanted
game
to
works,
be a
dude.
neon.
Okay,
Neon. It has to
2,
be
3
a
tracks.
neon.
Yeah.
Yo.
What if you talked about what I want to talk
Yeah,
about?
exactly. But he is a great writer, and I think details, they draw you in. If you're going to try to tell a story, you're apparently a scriptwriter or a something screenplay.
Let's do stuff. I don't know.
Yeah, if you put pen to paper, you want people to
He's
be
so introverted,
present.
he won't even tell you what he's doing.
no
I've been there,
self-promo.
bro. In the bathroom, dude.
Yeah. Well,
That was
It's like
Get out of your bathroom.
okay, oh, no, it's yeah. Well, for me, it's just get out of the office. Yeah, go to the bedroom. Yeah. But it's so cozy, and my cat sleeps on the
Cops are on
computer. And it's really
Montreal.
nice.
They catch you.
It's safe there.
It's really safe.
Understand.
Ending up in jail.
And I get out, you know.
Yes.
I'm out in the world.
You're out
Out
right
in
here,
the
right now.
world.
Do you think about
I-
details
I'm a
when you're
man
writing?
about town.
Yeah.
Yeah. In weird ways, I feel like I know if writing dialogue in a scene, a lot of them what you're supposed to do, and I think this is an interesting way to think about living life in general, is you're supposed to think of a character's objective and their circumstances. This is something I was taught in my education. So what someone just wants in life, because sometimes somebody wants, they want to drink a cup of water. Sometimes they want to eat. Sometimes they want to murder somebody.
Rule the
Sometimes
world.
they want to rule the world. Sometimes they want to, they just want a better life for themselves and their family. It can be any number of things. It's really varied
Those probably all go together in a dictator's thought process.
in some
I
capacity.
mean, it's like, I'm thirsty. I'm going to have to kill everyone to take over the world.
Yeah, right?
I mean, it's like... It's
well, and then,
do.
okay, which leads me to...
it's like, yeah,
Look at
yeah.
this.
I mean,
Think
you
of-
all 5 of those.
Right, which you're leading right to the next point, which is the circumstances, which is, being a dictator, being in charge of a country,
Nice.
deciding all the people that you have to kill in order to get your fruit juice or whatever.
Yeah, if I don't have my prune juice, I'm definitely
gonna
not
go
going to rule the world.
ballistic. And so I guess you do, and so you'll write a scene where somebody's having a really normal, basic conversation, but you're having to consider all the details of their life and why they would say yes as opposed to no in a given. Just like, the whole line could be no, but you have to go, well, why would they say that as opposed to literally anything else?
Yeah.
So
That's
it's like
true.
the details don't necessarily come through, but they are considered. And,
There are a million ways to say no, aren't there?
right, and a million reasons why you would or wouldn't.
Man, writing dialogue could be hard.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, you got to
Well, especially 'cause-
psychologically invest in every character.
And then you also, at the end of the day, you have to go, well, is this interesting? Is this worthwhile? Do I care at all? And I think maybe a lot of the time my
Those are good
perfectionism
questions.
comes with, no, I don't really care, and I don't know why, and I don't think anyone else will either. So I'm now back to the drawing board. And so I just kind of keep sitting and stewing and probably overcooking some of these things.
Yeah. Do you ever look back though and think, maybe I do care about that a little bit,
Yeah, sometimes.
or
It's
do
a
you leave it in the
snapshot
dust?
of you at the time.
Yeah. And well, then, and I think that is what I've discovered now. And I mean, is that a familiar thing as musicians, or
If you overcook it, though, is it still crunchy or is it just mushy?
It's burnt. And
it's just a little burnt?
like,
Yeah.
it's fried, man.
Yeah.
There's so many ways to overcook, though.
Well, like my
You can overcook and like your soup, and
Oh, you could
it's
slow
like
cook.
now
You
it's
can
like
slow
why as well
cook.
puree it now. It's like it's all mush, Or you can just like try to
Like-
cook broccoli without putting water in the pan, and it's definitely burned.
It's burnt. The smoke
Overcooked.
alarm's
It's like-
going off.
Yeah.
Neighbors are calling.
Yeah.
They're like, what is
or
going
the
on?
pizza that you shouldn't eat anyways, and you fall asleep watching Netflix.
what
Yeah.
it is it's like, well, I love my grandma, but she really likes like the driest turkey
Wow.
on
That
Thanksgiving.
sounds.
Dude, she likes it, or she accidentally makes a
Like,
dry
well,
turkey.
it can't be a matter
she
of
seems
taste,
to
man.
like to make it every year. I don't know.
Wait. Where are we going with the dry turkey story?
So your grandma could come and tell us how she makes
it's
it.
overcooked. She leaves it in the
Oh,
oven
it's
for a long time,
overcooked,
and it's
that's right.
real dry, overdone, and it's edible.
Okay.
You can eat it. We eat it
Yeah.
for Thanksgiving. It's not the worst thing. It's not like you're like ugh, but it's not like it's a really dry, overcooked turkey. So
So if you want some juicy podcast, you need to braise it in some good apples and
Well,
make
and
sure
so those
that
good
it's-
apples representing literal apples, like
we-
eating healthy, like we've talked about.
We should start
Reminds me
brining
of
the guests.
my
It's like
overdone-
you have to get dunked for 3 hours before you come in here.
Yeah,
If
I
you
think
have,
that's a
I've
good
got
idea.
a lot of art that I did like back in my 20s that's overdone. Like I overdid pen lines and whatever, like posters and stuff like that. And I still like to have it. I still used it for like whatever purpose it was for. Like I used to make posters before concerts for like leftover salmon or whatever to try to get in, and then sell the posters and make enough money to get a ticket. And now that my hand's a lot gentler and like I just, you just learn to like accept that you're going to make something cool. Like I started to make things that I wanted to look at or put on my wall.
Oh yeah,
Like
right.
stuff I'd want to watch or listen to, stuff that you would like, and then valuing you,
Yeah, I think the last two they really have to go hand in hand. It's like
Yeah.
you want to make it, but you also have to respect yourself
Yeah.
to be like, no, you can make what you want. What you want matters.
And trust your taste. I think the more
Yeah.
you
Oh,
make
sure.
art,
Absolutely.
the better you get at knowing what you want to hear, trusting your taste, just like,
Yeah.
and then when you double down on that and you believe that if I like it, someone else will like it. I think that's an interesting thing about songwriters too, and artists in general, maybe, is that we have to believe that we're all connected in some way, because like I said, there's that channel where if I feel it, you're probably going to feel it. Someone else will feel it. Not everyone likes all songs, but like, I just believe that like art touches that thing that we all have. And to believe that, you have to believe that we have something in common or something.
Well, and I mean, we do in that we live on we do happen
We
to share
share
the same
many a
planet.
thing in common.
We do happen to coexist with each other, and every little thing we do does influence other people in some capacity.
We're
But
all
some people have
divine,
so many more
spiritual
taste buds.
beings.
Some
Yeah.
people have more
That's
taste buds.
true.
Yeah.
Yeah,
And they're
spiritual
more
beings
important.
with some super taste buddy people, and some people with
We're
only
pretty
4 taste
extraordinary.
buds.
Yeah.
Some people
So-
with just some real big tongues.
I think quality. Did you guys ever read Zen and the Art of Motorcycle Maintenance by Robert
Yeah.
Pirsig? You know that book?
Yeah.
He talks about quality. You can't really define quality, but you can perceive it in everything. So whether it's food or music, podcast, a bike. I mean, you can just feel it when you experience
There's
something.
quality.
Yeah.
How do you define it though? I mean, you could define what a good meal
Presence of
is, but
moment.
Well, I think of it as like editing. It's like, what is good?
editing
well,
audio.
Editing anything, video, audio, or anything. If say you do 6 vocal tracks, well, they all sound real good. It's like, well, they all are really good, but what is the shittiest? Start at the bottom and find the top. When in doubt, cut out the bad. Don't look for the pinnacle. Don't try to be perfectionistic. Just cut out the shit.
Just you get rid of the worst of it instead of trying to achieve the best of it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's
okay.
like flip it.
Like a sculpting approach, not a painting approach.
Ooh.
Yeah. And
There
it's
you
a
go.
kinder approach to yourself.
So it's been, probably about an hour and a half, 2 hours or something. I really have to pee.
But this has been amazingly
Yes.
fun and
Yeah.
and like actually way more interesting than I ever imagined, more seamless than I could ever comprehend. And it's like this was just interesting, and I mean, it's like I'm part of it, but I'm just like, wow, this
Yeah.
is so crazy. These people that are down
It's a
here.
cool
I
combination.
mean, it's just like with no format.
Yeah.
I love that.
Well, I mean the format is I want to hear what you guys have to say. I like hearing what artists have to say just in general. I don't know anything about musicians or really music, so
Oh, wow.
so I'm really
Nice.
really
Let
wanting
us
to
tell
learn.
you about us.
Yeah,
Yeah.
We
well,
love
and that's
to
what I've
do
been
it.
that's what I've been really
Thanks.
glad. I'm really glad to learn from it. So I mean, promote whatever you guys have coming out as musicians or
Yeah,
otherwise.
I just want to put out that we Gavin St Trio. I'm that's me and my band, and we've been a trio for a while. We have a keys player now. I'm not sure if we're gonna change our name. We might still be the Gavin St Trio.
It's a good name.
with the 4-piece.
Yeah,
I love
we
that.
We were joking it might be Gavin St Clair and his trio.
Oh, I love that.
Gavin
Oh.
Yeah.
I love the Gavin
Oh,
St.
good
Trio.
suggestion.
There
Yeah,
are
that's
and,
what
options.
and
it
it's a
sounds like.
4-piece, and then just to see who actually like listens, does math, can
Quattro.
count. It's kind
Quattro.
of fun.
Maybe
to
we're
s-
gonna
Be a
change the
cool
band name to
band name.
Quattro. So watch out, Quattro release show. No, I'm gonna
quad shot, quad shot.
I'm gonna plug it as Gavin St. Clair Trio
Thanks.
release show. Got a really sweet album coming out that I'm really excited about, and we're putting it out here at Wussow's on February 4th. And so
Saturday. Be there.
be there, or why weren't you there? Because it's gonna be fun.
Or feel terrible.
Feel bad. It's gonna be fun. The tunes are good. The guys are good. Great recordings, and yeah, just really excited. It's like we were talking about. Just it's a really cool moment when you see a work of art come to fruition like this, and booking the show even just felt like it was finally going to be. Even if it's not yet, it's just on its
Like having
way
a
out the door.
baby.
It's a psychedelic
Well,
experience.
I'll tell you, it's comparable.
It was painful.
When
So
I made
yeah,
the
I'll-
album,
I
I'll
hope
say
it's a
that.
lot less
I was like,
painful
it's
and
so
drier.
similar.
And
Luckily, we didn't
Blood.
overcook our
I mean,
baby.
there's a
but...
lot of that. We didn't have to- but you did get a baby. Yeah, and let's see. And we'll have our album released soon, hopefully.
Sparta
and then,
recording, and
I guess
that's coming up.
Yep. So, yep. Check it out, Baby Eyes Music, BABIE.
Lots of fun stuff ahead for everyone involved, it sounds like. So,
Yeah.
well, with that in mind, thank everyone for listening at home. Remember to tune in next time for another episode, whenever that ends up being, of the Wussow's podcast. Fade to
Clap
black.
ourselves out.
Hey, 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 hey.